Hello and welcome to Ginger Prime. My name is Brian if you're new around here, but if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back to the channel. You are amazing. That's what you get for subscribing, by the way. Free compliments for my subscribers at the start of these videos. But beyond that, today's video is about helping you build out the class that you've always wanted to play in New World. I decided I want to have some fun with my build guides, and as an avid Final Fantasy player, I theme my builds off the jobs in Final Fantasy. So today's video is going to be on my warrior build as a tank and a DPS. This is a strong-headed, able to close the gap in any fight. It brings with it a ton of power and survivability build. Now, as with any build, and especially with options in an online MMO, the game is going to evolve. So be sure to keep it locked to the channel and check the top link in the description for my New World playlist, so that way you can always get caught up on later build guides and more when it comes to this game, especially, you know, if you're watching this and it's been a couple years and YouTube decides to recommend this video for you. Note that there's going to be more New World content that's going to be majorly updated with all the changes, so be sure to that way you're watching and getting the most up-to-date information. Also, these are just what I prefer. This is what I've been playing with, and I wanted to give you guys my thoughts to helpfully set a foundation for you to take it and make it your own. So if you decide to like rock a Mauler build, or you decide to make changes to the build that I show you here today, sound off in the comments below. Let me know what skills that you decided to pick, and let's have that conversation. I'd love, and I'm very excited to see what everybody decides to do with this game. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the game itself, and let's go ahead and show you my skills specifically. All right, we're going to go into the Great Axe. Like I said, I'm rocking a Great Axe and a Warhammer. I'm going to show you, and I'm going to start with the skills first and foremost. I'm rocking all the skills from the Reaper tree. That's Reap. This is going to extend your axe 5 meters, pulling foes to you and dealing 110% weapon damage. And this is also Taunt Gym compatible. You also have Charge. This is going to close the gap. It's going to deal 120% weapon damage, and you can either attack and exit out of the charge, or it will automatically finish after it hits or reaches its target at 10 meters. And then you have Execute. This is a powerful overhead attack, dealing 200% weapon damage, and it deals 300% weapon damage versus foes under 50% health. Over on the Mauler skill tree, you've got Whirlwind, which I'm not taking. This is obviously that spinning classic barbarian style move that is very powerful, and if I could take a fourth skill, it would be Whirlwind in this case. Then you've got Maelstrom, a fast spinning attack that pulls targets closer to you. And then finally, Gravity Well. This is going to throw your axe to create a vortex and pull foes into the center of it for 3 seconds. So obviously you can see here I am not rocking a Mauler build, but what I am taking is Heavy Pull. Heavy attacks with a Great Axe pulls flows closer to you. And then I have Enduring Strike, or Enduring Strike, if I could read it correctly. It adds grit to the Great Axe heavy attacks and grants 20% damage reduction while the heavy attack grit is active. So grit is going to be adding a stagger resistance that stops attacks from being interrupted by reactions. So, all right, I just wanted to cover that. If you guys want a Mauler build, be sure to hit that like button and sound off in the comments below, and I can see what other builds I can come up for you as well. But we're going to focus here on what I have selected rather than what I haven't selected. In the Reap category, I picked up the Collector, which is going to increase my range to 8 meters. Then I've got Hunger. It's going to heal myself for 30% of the damage done by Reap. And then to finish it off, after doing that pull, I'll do a spin attack, dealing 115% weapon damage. So I've got the full evolution of the Reaper and the Reap skill. Over here, I've got Charge. I love Charge. Like I said, it's a gap closer, but I pair it with increasing its damage to 120 to 140% weapon damage based off of how far I travel. And then Unpredictable Strike. During the charge, I also might use right mouse button to execute a swing attack, dealing 140 to 165 weapon damage based off of how far I traveled. The Execute evolution here goes to Execute gains grit during the attack, making my attack unstoppable, and Execute critical hits 100% of the time versus foes below 30% health. So you get that 300% if they're below 50, and then that gets increased even more if they're below 30% health. I'm taking the ultimate Bloodlust. This moves you 30% faster and deals 15% more damage when looking at a foe within 15 meters. Then in my passives, I take Greed. Light attacks of my Great Axe is going to give me 5% damage for 5 seconds, and it can stack up to 3 times. I also take Executioner Speed. Hitting 2 targets with a single Great Axe light attack is going to grant me 3 seconds of haste, which in this case is just 20% haste. It's going to make you move faster. If you're coming from Final Fantasy, That might be a little bit confusing, but haste in this case is going to help you move faster physically rather than increase your skill attack speed. Critical gains. When you make a critical hit with a great axe, you're going to heal yourself for 10% of the damage done. Frustration. After one of your attacks is blocked, gain 15% damage for 10 seconds with a maximum of 1 stack. Keen Edge. Critical damage is increased by 10%. And Feed. Great axe attacks against foes below 30% health is going to heal me for 10% of the damage done. So that is my Reaper skill tree, and taking just a little bit over from Mauler. But let me go and show you my Warhammer skills. You can see here, Warhammer, I am going with the Crowd Crusher, crowd control, but I'm taking a few passives from the Juggernaut tree. Let me show you what I'm taking from Juggernaut, and then we'll spend the rest of our time over here in Crowd Crusher. Exhaustive attacks. All Warhammer abilities apply exhaust, slowing target's stamina regeneration by 15% for 5 seconds, and it does not stack. Hammer time. Gain in power with heavy attack, increasing damage by 20% for 4 seconds. And adding grit to the hammer heavy attacks, it also gains or grants 20% damage reduction while the heavy attack grit is active. So that's what I take from Juggernaut. Now, skills wise, I've got Clear Out, a wide swinging knockback that's going to knock everybody back 4 meters and create distance, and it deals 115% weapon damage. Shockwave. Slam hammer into the ground, causing a 3-meter radius AoE earthquake that deals 80% weapon damage, and it applies a stun to all impacted targets for 2 seconds. And Path of Destiny, a powerful ground strike that interrupts a linear wave of energy in front of the player, dealing 110% weapon damage and targets in its path. Now, I take all of the upgraded paths this way. Power Cleaner, hitting a target to clear out grants 4 to 5, providing a 10% defensive bonus for 4 seconds to all friendlies within 6 meters. Then Clean and Refreshed. Clear Out's cooldown is reduced by 5% for enemy that's hit with the ability. And then using Clear Out on a target grants haste, increasing movement speed by 30% for 3 seconds. In my Path of Destiny category, Seismic Waves. Path of Destiny now staggers all targets in its path. And the Simulated Reduction, ability cooldown reduced by 5% for each enemy hit with Path of Destiny. And then in the Shockwave category, I've got the trauma of the attack causes weaken, decreasing all damage dealt by the target's attacks by 10%. And finally, Meteoric Crater extends or expands the effective range of Shockwave to a 4-meter radius. The ultimate I'm taking in this case is Aftershock. Whenever a target is affected by crowd control effect, they are slowed by 20% for 4 seconds. Now in my passives, Outnumbered. Increased damage absorption by 10% if surrounded by 2 or more enemies within 3 meters of the player. Also, I can do this all day. Reduce stamina consumption by 30% when blocking melee attacks. That's really kind of me thinking from a tank perspective, just so I don't have my stamina drained out. Facilitated Expedition. After hitting a target with an active debuff, obtain haste, increasing movement speed by 15% for 3 seconds. And then I've got Concussive Impact. 15% damage dealt against targets affected by Warhammer debuffs. And then finally, I've got my regain 35% of damage dealt as health when using a Crowd Crusher ability. So this is a really good self-sustaining build that you can go run and play and have a ton of fun with, as I've been running around Shattered Mountain gathering footage of this for you. Now on this case, I want to show you just attributes wise. Rocking a strength build. We'll go through the gear that I have equipped here in a second. But you can see here right now currently capped maxed out at 300 health. I could easily respec and put more strength into it. I'm personally waiting at this current time. I'm sure that when we get people min-maxing and as the patches kind of get adjusted, we'll see kind of what people kind of recommend where to put different skill points. But at the end of the day, the strength is the category that both the War Hammer and the Great Axe benefit off directly. So I put my points into strength, hitting that cap of 300. There's no extra bonuses in terms of like crafting and gathering and more after that kind of that third tier section. So then I decided to pump the rest into Constitution, which directly helps my health out. And you can see here I'm almost at 10,000 health on this job. Now if I jump into my gear, you can see here I focused on gear that has strength as either its primary and Constitution as a secondary. So the Orcarium Soldier's Helm of the Soldier, what a fun name. In this case, it's got 20% or 20 points of strength that is helping boost that up. Then I have the Orcarium Soldier breastplate of the soldier. This has another 20 points of strength that I have equipped. This is also putting me into a heavy category, so I can't like dodge roll or anything. And if you guys are very curious about this, be sure to check out my ultimate getting starting guide here on the channel as well. Soldier of the vibrations of the fighter, in this case 12 strength, 8 dexterity. If I could find a better piece of gear that was either more focused on strength or constitution, I would. And you can see here I do have empty gem sockets. I've just kind of been playing around, so I could easily just kind of slot some stuff in here and just apply that. At the end of the day, when you look at any kind of gem, you'll see what it has as an effect of for your weapon, and then what it has an effect of for your build for your armor. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to dive too much into gem management today, but we'll talk more about that here in the future. I've got the Orcarium Soldier's Greaves of the Night, 8 strength, 12 constitution, so that's perfect for me in that regards. And the Soldier's Boots of the Zealot, 8 strength, 12 focus. I tried to find another pair of boots that I had that was more focusing on strength, and sadly have yet to find one, so we're still working on that. And then I do have the shield. You can see here that it's got dexterity and constitution. I could easily equip another shield like that. Actually probably would work out a little bit better for my build itself, giving me more strength and more constitution. So be sure not to factor out of shields, but do note that the shield will impact your weight class there. Then within my accessories, I've got the Amulet of the Soldier with 22 strength, and with an additional 20 strength, I've got my Ring of the Soldier with another basically 42 points of strength. And then finally, I have got my Earring of the Soldier with another 42 points of strength. Be sure to always take a look also at your various cooldowns that you can see here, or your various perks on the gear. The more high quality the gear, the more perks that it is bound to have. So now let's go ahead and talk about the weapons. Again, I said I've taken the Great Axe. Now I have slotted in Cruel 4. This is 12% damage against targets with an active crowd control status effect. So you can see that from the gem here. The Cut Pristine Malachite. I struggle with words. Welcome to the channel. And this again is going, being that I am using a lot of crowd control with the hammer, this is going to help essentially as I crowd control, increase that damage. Now with the hammer, I did slot a taunting gem, but it could easily just be as slotted into here. You can always easily replace that. So you could be rocking these additional gems, adding in more damage against crowd control enemies, and you can kind of play around with the different builds themselves here. I'll cover gem management more as we get into my Red Mage and other different caster jobs. So just look forward to that here on the channel itself. But without further ado, that is the gear that I've got. That is the skills that I've got. And those are the thoughts and passives that I am using for this build. Guys, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you did, leave it a like. It actually really helps out with the algorithm itself. It's a free way of supporting the channel if you feel like I've earned it. Otherwise, you got the dislike button, but you can always tell me in the comments below what you're looking for, what I can do to help make your gaming experience all the better in New World. But that's going to wrap it up, guys, for Ginger Prime. My name is Brian. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope to see you in my next video, but until then, take care.
With the clan, and I'm glad you're feeling better. Oh yeah. A little off topic, but I just want to say thank you for providing me a friendly, fun, and optimistic community. Baby.